Love a good button presser Peach, as Seal says. That's a funny way to word it, but I mean, we'll see how it plays out.
And they strike to Yoshi's. That's so weird. I mean, I think the two of these players are both aggressive in their own right for their mains, but still, I mean, like, they're gonna die pretty early. Maybe they don't want to have any timeouts in this set.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find the advantage for Dawson here. I get why you'd want to come here as Bbatts. I even get being like, oh, I'm an aggressive Puff. I don't hate Yoshi's. But as your starting stage seems like kind of weird to me. I really don't.
I'm wondering. Maybe there's some follow-ups we're going to see, but you kind of, if you get smacked with the crown at 90, you're going to die pretty much every time when you're a balloon.
Absolutely. What do you think about the neutral Puff? Not really a color we see that often.
It's just, oh, God. It just feels so naked.
I hate it for that reason. It feels like it's like a naked butt or something. I just don't like it. It feels like it's so naked. I can't even begin to describe why I don't like it. But, yeah.
Yeah, as we speak, Bbatts extending the lead slightly, and this is kind of like, you know, you had mentioned in the last set with the Sheik Ditto, or when Travioli was playing Samus, rather, when you go down in a stock, it really feels like two stocks. Floaty matchups like this really feel like wars of attrition.
Honestly, yeah, I completely agree, and it's one of those things where you feel like not only are you losing a stock feels like two stocks, sometimes losing center stage feels like losing a stock. Like, you're just like, oh, God. What do I do from here? Like, so much work, but does manage to clip the down smash. So keeping Puff where he wants him to be and mashing those moves as we speak. Ooh, though.
Wow, Bbatts so aggressive too with these approach options. Just does not care. Goes flying into Dawson's triple dares here. The wall of pain coming into full effect, and huge center control. Dawson just kind of gives it up though, and also gives up the stock.
Yeah. It does seem like good up air. That was really amazing up air. Like,
maybe that's why they want Yoshi's.
I wasn't expecting that to kill even still. Like, maybe Bbatts just wasn't ready. Is that around like 90? And Puff's up air is pretty good, but I don't know. Good down smash though, opening up some percent and getting some stage in the process.
So it is interesting when you think of these kind of matchups, I guess kind of more empirically instead of like really getting granular about it, where, you know, Puff Peach in general, like they get 3, maybe 4 hit combos, and that's like a huge win for them. So it's like if you can get a 3-piece like Dawson got there with the, you know, bear up air, that's obviously a huge win if you take the stock at 90 from that.
No, for sure, yeah. And like also just getting a combo that's actually like noteworthy in general is sort of a confidence booster of like, hey, you guys see that? You guys little couple back airs, and so I don't know. It might be a good kind of motivational boost for Dawson, but again, I feel like Yoshi's is not working out in the way that Dawson hoped.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I feel like that could have killed if he charged it for like a half beat longer too.
I completely think you're right. Like that seemed very, very close. Even though it was only like 70, Puff is just so light and kind of overcommits in the corner though.
No jump still. Parasol coming down. This is a really tough position for Peach. Gets through though.
Ledge though, or kind of drops the float. This is a great spot for Bbatts, honestly. Yeah, and closes out.
Wow. Yeah. So something that I found a little bit interesting in that set was Bbatts was finding a lot of kills with fair, which is almost like a hard call out of how Dawson is positioning. I think traditionally, and a lot of my experience in quote unquote knowing this matchup is, or understanding this matchup a little bit, is by watching Laud play against Peaches. And I feel like Laud's approach is to go for really low float up airs to kill, or like a traded nair. So to me, it's very interesting to see the fair as the option here, because it's so much startup in that move. And he's basically saying, yeah, I know exactly where you're going to be and you're going to die for it.
No, for sure. It is a weird stylistic difference. I wonder if it's kind of like Bbatts sort of saying, I don't think your spacing is that good, like put bluntly. And so if I just throw out a bunch of moves when you're kind of in a disadvantaged state, like I just don't think you're going to weave around it. Because when we used to see HBox play this matchup against Armada, it was very like, I'm going to be so patient and like find that couple of back airs and just sort of edge you out the whole game. And Dawson's playstyle doesn't fit that really at all. And maybe that works to Bbatts' advantage, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Case in point, I mean, Bbatts with the stock lead. This is pretty huge right now. And you know, I mentioned at the beginning of the set, Radar, it's kind of like very attrition-y, grindy type matchups. But the thing that makes this interesting and always puts a little bit of a question mark on these kinds of matchups is the fact that Puff can just straight up kill you at any point.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only thing is, though, is that rest doesn't, like, while it's on the table and it's also not easily punished, could go for an up air here. It's the kind of thing that the setups aren't as common or as frequent as you see against like a Spacey. So I think the bigger concern for me, if I was a Peach player, is more this ability to get edge guard. That was a stitch, but doesn't seem to matter. Because, yeah, Puff can just sort of keep pushing you off the stage, and, like, she can pressure you from positions like this where other characters can't as effectively. But it doesn't seem like Dawson's doing that, and that's, I don't know. Maybe it's a different perspective on the matchup, but I don't feel like it's the right one.
Sure, yeah, and as we speak, we're approaching the percent where up air is going to kill, most likely. We saw it right there. Bbatts looking for kind of the hyper float into up air to catch Dawson's drift in. Doesn't quite get there, and Dawson enters back with the stock. But this is a pretty huge lead for Bbatts at the moment.
Yeah, is it ever? And we're seeing that continued aggression from Bbatts, going for the tomahawk grab there, pushing Dawson out of the way, trying to give him as little stage as possible. And oh, I love that cross up down back air into the down tilt. What a
super scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that position's so hard too, especially with Puff's back to you and on a platform. There is nowhere for you to run.
Honestly, the more I watch Peaches lately, the more I feel like this character has a lot of room to grow. What a read and a call out. Like, yeah, that deserves a time. That was sick.
Bbatts is telling me, raid me again.
Yeah, exactly. Curse me, baby. Like, yeah, no, it's really working out. This is so one-sided. Not what I expected at all.
Okay. Dawson with a bit of an answer right now, has to find the edge guard, gets another hit, but just resets the situation here. Wow, finds it before he grabs ledge.
Teetering there, not really sure what's going on, but goes for Nair. Might be looking for an aggressive rest like we... There we go, the empty hop up tilt, a classic from Puff.
Ooh, tries to remix the punish and only gets the turnip hit off of it. We were talking about how one-sided this was, but it just turns around just like that. But a traded hit there is going to do it. 2-0 in favor of Bbatts, looking down the barrel of a 3-0.
This is what I was saying before. Like, this is not me calling out Dawson at all, but like, kind of seems like Bbatts is like, hey, I'm gonna throw out some hard-hitting moves, and you better not be in the way. You just better not be in the way. Like going for these up smashes, going for these kind of aggressive call-out options, which isn't something you really associate with Peach, at least like not in this matchup, and it is really paying off.
Yeah, it's super interesting how much Bbatts has been winning the air-to-air battles here too, because the situations that get kind of weird from the Peach's side, I can't believe he got that grab off. A few times in this set, like a lot of backwards rolls out of Dawson, which is kind of interesting because a lot of times Peaches can't afford to go for aerial into like instant down smash because Puff's forward roll is actually quicker. It's invulnerable in frame 2 as opposed to frame 4, which is most of the cast. So a lot of Peach shield pressure just straight up doesn't work. So it's interesting to see kind of Bbatts just straight up winning in all these air battles as opposed to just kind of like meticulously moving around Dawson's shield.
Yeah, like it's really, it's what you're saying. There's this kind of like sort of atypical way of playing against what I would call like a big weaknesses of Puff, which is her kind of lack of vertical mobility, but from a character who also has bad vertical mobility. Like it seems like Bbatts is in places where Puff, like, you know, is trying to run away and can't escape, but Peach is so slow, so I don't really know how he's doing it. It's very impressive so far.
Yeah, that being said though, Dawson has the first pretty sizable lead of the match, about 50%, make that 40, and just make that not even an advantage at all anymore. So I'll just stop talking. Radar, take it away.
Just can't believe how many up smashes we're seeing. Like, even just that down throw, and like, 36%, 50%. This is so much damage in this matchup. You mentioned this before. Like, if you get a sizable amount of damage against Puff, it feels like a stock. And 50% is no joke. Like, crouch cancel off the table, probably with a little bit more percent.
Okay. Eyes off the side, though. Let's see if he goes for the turnip pull. Probably not enough time, yeah.
Yeah. Just like that. You know, rest's not that common in this matchup, to be honest. Like, outside of the up tilt at low percent, there aren't really a lot of setups. Oh my god, he's still going for it.
Yeah, turnip throws upwards, different lengths. It actually matters.
Yeah, this really feels to me like this is just not a matchup that Dawson is super experienced in, or if it is, it's one that he kind of maybe needs to change his approach, or like a play style kind of preference that just doesn't line up well, because Bbatts' style is just really, really effective against what Dawson wants to do.
Yeah, both of them just looking awfully aggressive, though, in this entire set. Dawson with a bit of a chain to drag Bbatts off the stage, and also without a jump now, but just going to parasol back to ledge, and misses it.
Was that a battlefield ledge moment? Like, it kind of looked like it. We don't see those that much with Peach, but he kind of, like, slid right below it.
I'm looking at it on delay, just to see. And I think it was a combination of closing parasol and then maybe a battlefield ledge blended in, but it was hard to tell for sure.
Yeah, it looks like Seal saying it's a fast fall. I don't know. It looked hard to call it for sure, but there's the grounded kind of up airs that you mentioned that Vlad likes to go for. So this must be a kill percent for Puff at this moment. Ooh, I like this pressure.
Wow. Yeah, really tricky with kind of float heights, keeping things ambiguous on if it's going to be kind of a sub float, full jump float, with those kind of patented forward airs we've been seeing out of Bbatts. And Dawson's just trying to space some things out right now. Has a stock to play with, though, so not out of the woods just yet.
Yeah, I've really been finding success with these tomahawks, too. And going, like, I feel Dawson has slowed it down quite a bit and is trying to kind of bait Bbatts in, which I think is a good strategy for someone who likes to play so aggressive. Like, backing off into the corner, being in kind of a disadvantage, but then throwing out these really low lag back airs until, you know, Bbatts commits a resource and ends up in a position like that. So it's really, really an effective spacing strategy so far from Dawson.
Okay, it's doable. Traded hits are not good here, of course. A little interesting note that I've been seeing also, and maybe the game comes to a close while we're mentioning it, but you know, we kind of were talking about how Dawson is going for these bears, these forward airs. He gets on the board there with that one. I think this is something we see particularly out of H-Box quite a bit, and it's the down air into any type of confirm, whether it's down air, wait for spot dodge, grab, down air, wait for spot dodge, anything else, down air into up smash, which is actually kill confirm at pretty low percents, all things considered, for floaty matchups. It seems like it's such an incredible tool for this matchup. I'm wondering kind of where Dawson's at in terms of if he wants to be pulling that out or just kind of win, again, the air battles is what we've been talking about.
You know, as we say that, Bob-omb coming into play, actually exploding a lot later than you would expect. I know what you mean. I think the reason why that we're not seeing that as much as you might in a different set is because of the way, like, it's a combination of two things, I think, which is one, that Dawson is struggling to space around the timing of Bbatts' moves, and so trying to pressure in a close spacing and kind of a scrappy spacing with that down air, like, isn't a strategy that he's as comfortable with. And then the second thing is, I don't think Bbatts has been playing as grounded. There is the dare as we speak, and that has not created as many situations for Dawson to go for that opener.
Sure.
That's why we're seeing a lot of back airs and stuff like that.
Yeah, two players going at each other again, and in a situation where it looks like Dawson can potentially get first blood here in the game. There it is. Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for from the last game.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a very reliable kill setup, but only if you can catch them kind of on the ground. And I think it's a stylistic choice of how the Peach player likes to play, because if they're in the air, I'm pretty sure it works the way, say, Falco's down air or Fox's down air does, where, like,
sure,
it kind of pulls you down, but the opponent is actionable before you are, because you kind of, like, get dragged down with it, so you have to be grounded.
Yeah, and it makes such a scary situation for the Peach because, you know, you can't even really escape out of it with rolls or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it's really all about that little tumble animation. Like there's a point in the down air where it clips Peach or really any player, and it's after a certain amount of percent. Like let's say it's like 45, and at that point, I'm surprised it didn't kill. This little weird tumbling thing is where you can get the punish, whether it be an up smash or a grab or even a rest, which we don't really see much for because it's kind of too
absolutely. Risky. And for as much as we've talked about Bbatts being able to win the air battles here, Dawson really has taken control since the end of Game 3.
Yeah, I think so much of it is that adaptation. It's just Dawson kind of saying, you know what, I was forcing it, and that was like playing to your advantage. I'm not going to force it anymore. I'm going to make you try to force the openings. You come into me wall you out with the back air, and just kind of make you feel uncomfortable. Like, look what we're seeing. Bbatts is working way harder to get an opening, and it's paying off in a big way for Dawson.
Gosh, so much fast movement, though, out of the Peach here. Yeah, and just rolls away. It's really, really hard for Peach to find follow-ups off of that.
Yeah. How does he get out of the corner, though? Yeah, that forward air should do it. This is the moment where I think you're looking for, like, a stitch or something, but Bbatts settles on the regular turnip, just wants to get a little bit of space. Try not to lose the stock if he can help it.
Yeah, that down smash has got to be punished, and he can kind of count his blessings that it was only just a forward throw that Dawson got to punish that. See if we can return to neutral here, but, you know, Bbatts just fighting his way back towards center.
Yeah, and it's tricky because, like, at this percent, the follow-ups you can get, you know, it's not like Marth or something where Marth might struggle kind of at the higher percents, but he has pretty reliable damage against Puff. Someone like Peach really is connecting a lot of stray hits. It's not like the low percent is any less difficult than the high percents, unfortunately. So this set, I don't know. Maybe the curse is real. Well,
I don't want to stop. I don't want to talk about it.
It could be possible.
Come on. Or let's think of the alternatives here. What say you to collusion? Because let it be known that Bbatts went all in on channel points for Dawson. So, I don't know. Color me suspicious that we're in Game 5 right now? A little bit? Come on. But yeah, I mean, no. In all seriousness, though, like, very great adaptation from Dawson so far to bring this to a Game 5. I really do feel like he's been superior the last 2 games in just kind of controlling the airspace, figuring out what is and isn't okay for Bbatts to be doing to come in, and Bbatts just kind of getting caught swinging a lot in the air.
It really does feel like Dawson just kind of is like, okay, I can't play the matchup in the way I want to play it. I have to play it in this way, which kind of sucks, but like, it's just patient, let them come to me, zone them out, pressure them, really prioritizing back air. Like, the amount of back airs you see in this matchup is very, very, very high, more so than probably any other. Good zoning, though, from Bbatts so far, and it just continues to pay off. I do think the low ceiling could help, but it could end up hurting with the the up smash setup that you mentioned earlier if we see a more aggressive style.
And it is a bit interesting, again, like we talked about it towards the beginning of the set, Bbatts finding kind of a interestingly high number of kills with forward air. So it's kind of like, yeah, they're going to kill earlier either way, but if you're looking for those hyperfloat up air, hyperfloat in air setups to trade with the Puff like that, then yeah, that's the point where you want to be looking for a stage like this. It's going to be a matter of how he's going to build percent, though, from this point on.
That was such a like precise opener there. Just, you know, runs by at such a high percent, finds the turnip in a down smash, and like gets a quick 40. Just such a huge momentum shift, but good tomahawk grab by Dawson is going to help even things out a little bit. Can Dawson stay alive, though? You know, pull the Armada, get a second stock already. Wow.
I'm not even counting Dawson out in these situations, because it's every time we bring up how much pressure Bbatts is putting on in these situations, Dawson finds a kill like that, and then he finds a rest right after. So let's see what happens here.
Those rests, almost. I was just going to say, they've been from these tomahawk up tilts, and these empty hops that he's been doing have just been pretty much completely unchallenged, and that's why, you know, Walt's saying we got to worry about these rests because they're on the table. They've been a part of the matchup, even though they're normally quite hard to hit.
Yeah, Dawson get caught turning around a little bit, perhaps looking to kind of dash back from the Bbatts roll in. But he's going to maintain quite a bit of pressure here, and Bbatts caught swinging with the forward air, not quite able to connect.
And, you know, both of them are kind of putting a lot. There we go again. Once pressuring the shield, goes for the taunt. Wow,
Is this an SFAT taunt?
That's a little cocky, but you know the set is not over yet, and so far Dawson is pressuring. I wonder what that, you know, kind of the mental damage there is. The taunt kind of getting to Dawson, or is it just more kind of?
Yeah, it's a psychological question, right? Like you ask when people taunt, is this taunt an Aklo taunt or an SFAT taunt? Like which one are we getting here?
Definitely not the kind of thing you want named after you if you are SFAT, but does manage to clip it up, hit him with the back air, close out that stock, and a rest could turn things around, especially given Peach's relatively weak rest punish game, but I don't know, this is still pretty close. Ooh, some jab pressure.
Yeah, jab's not going to work though with the puff roll away. Again, just very, very hard to punish any type of roll away from the Jigglypuff unless you really kind of hard read it on the ground, and that's not exactly where Peach wants to be.
Yeah, no, she definitely, especially in the way if you're playing like Bbatts, like grounded isn't really going to give you a lot. Like we haven't really seen, if we were to get a stat of the dash attacks that we've seen in the game, I would not be surprised if it was like 5. Like almost all of Bbatts approaches. Yeah, this is last stock.
I'm so nervous.
This is
never been more nervous
whether
for a
you're
Peach
cursed,
fight.
man. Like this is literally, it all comes down to this. It's not the set that matters, it's the curse that matters. That is the oh my god, that string of up airs not going to lead to anything because of Peach's weight, but the stitch just making things even more complicated. And that SFAT
Reads
taunt
the
might
roll, but he's too slow because Peach doesn't run fast in stilettos.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is so much more tight than it needs to be. Like the Nair down smash. Oh,
One up air kills, but a string of back airs can do it as well from Dawson. It's got to be, yeah. There's really like no follow up he can do. It had to be back throw, down throw most likely, unless he was looking for the mix up, but he gets it.
did you see?
The curse is broken.
If you look at the hitbox that he hit, like everyone talk like normally Bear is talked about as this like hugely disjointed move, and he hit like some of the vulnerable side of the Bear because again, like there's not even enough room in the camera for me to talk about like how he got that hit. That was clutch. The curse is broken. Bbatts takes it over Dawson,